Hello and welcome to the Orthodox View, where we discuss latest religious news from an Orthodox Christian perspective. I am its host, Philip Champion. Do not covet your neighbor's house. The chairman of the Department for External Relations of the Moscow Patriarchate, Metropolitan Hilarion of Volokholamsk, commented on Patriarch Bartholomew's new statement about a capture of the Cathedral of the Dormition in Budapest by the Moscow Patriarchate. Metropolitan Hilarion stressed that the head of the Church of Constantinople encroached on others' property. He recounted that in the early 2000s, Constantinople already laid claim to this cathedral and took legal actions in courts, but lost every single case. Metropolitan Hilarion recalled that the Cathedral of the Dormition in Budapest has never belonged to the Patriarchate of Constantinople. It was built in the late 18th century by a community that consisted predominantly of Greeks and Vlachs. Divine services were celebrated in Greek. However, it was not in the jurisdiction of the Patriarchate of Constantinople, prohibited as it was in the territory of Austria-Hungary, but in the jurisdiction of the independent metropolis of Karlovci, which later joined the United Serbian Church. True, in the 20s of the 20th century, Constantinople tried to establish in Hungary its own exarchate, but it existed only on paper. Constantinople should be dealt with in the field of law. Igumen Serapion, who is a PhD and a Deputy Director of the Higher School of Economics Faculty of Law, proposes to move to the field of law in the dispute with Constantinople, but now with regard to the Ukrainian issue. He made this statement at an international theological conference in Moscow. He believes that the decision to repeal the 1686 resolution to transfer the metropolis of Kiev to the Russian Church can be made only by the one who has the same amount of powers and influence as the ecumenical patriarch had in the 17th century. However, now, as Father Serapion pointed out, Patriarch Bartholomew does not enjoy such a status. His actual international legal status is registered in the 1923 Treaty of Lausanne. Transferring the metropolis of Kiev, the Patriarch of Constantinople acted not only as the primate of the Church of Constantinople, but also as a politician, as the head of the Orthodox people of the Ottoman Empire. Nowadays, he has no international status whatsoever. According to the Treaty of Lausanne, he heads a small Greek community of Istanbul, and nobody recognizes his status as the head of the Orthodoxy. In order to have a debate, it is necessary to move to the commonly accepted juridical positions and to argue precisely in this context. Here we have many more opportunities for arguing and disproving. This and other remarks made by participants of the International Theological Conference on the Ukrainian issue are available on the official website of the Moscow Patriarchate's Department for External Church Relations, mospat.ru. Russian Orthodoxy and cinema in Europe. The winners of the 4th Film Festival of the Russian Cinema Premio Felix have been announced in Milan. Among one of its outstanding events was the European premiere of The Pastors by Russian art director Andrei Andreev. This film won the first prize in the Best Documentary nomination in recognizing the reflection of human, cultural and spiritual universality of the Orthodox message that finds a breeding ground even in regions distant from Russia. The film relates the life of priests and parishes of the Russian Church in Switzerland and Italy, the search for ways of mutual understanding between our churches and peoples. Among the main characters of the film is a hermit monk, Father Gavril Bunge. Starets Gavril lives in a skeet in the Swiss mountains and annually receives hundreds of people who come to him for a talk or confession. Starets Gavril used to belong to the Catholic Benedictine order, but in 2010 Metropolitan Hilarion of Volokholamsk performed the act of accepting Father Gavril into the Orthodox Church. Father Gavril says, "His Eminence Hilarion, if you like, is one of the most competent and informed people with whom I have happened to talk, and he has actually become for me the only one who I could turn to with a downright request, who knew me, my beliefs, and my situation, and who, I was confident of it, was ready to respond. And it happened so." Terrible statistics. The Ukrainian Orthodox Church representative Metropolitan Anthony revealed the number of violations of the law with regard to the faithful and religious communities of the canonical church in Ukraine. At a meeting of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church legal entities, the Metropolitan pointed out that discrimination on religious grounds continues to develop in the Ukrainian society. The work of the Church has been blocked legally. Because of the so-called law on renaming, the canonical church cannot change the data in the Ukrainian state registers. It has resulted in an outrageous statistics of illegal re-registered communities. There are about 500 such cases. In addition, 144 churches of the canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church were seized in raiding. Committed to paper now are dozens of the arsons of churches, a great number of attacks on clergy, and cases of vandalism. God-given managers. The Romanian Orthodox Church has organized trainings for priests on the basics of management. The aim is to improve interaction with the youth and to learn how to create projects which would be really interesting for today's audience. Priests will be told how to discern the needs of society, how to use these needs for planning their work, and then to promote their projects. The training will last a month. Already in the end of October, 100 priests of the Romanian Orthodox Church will be able to apply the new knowledge in their Orthodox mission. This is all for now. Thank you for your attention, and see you next time on the Orthodox View.